All right, all right, all right. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and get to it. My name is Patty Pips, and today we are going to be doing a top-down analysis on the market, just like we do, every week. So nothing new here. Um, Here we go. How's it going, everybody? We got a new layout. Um, I created this earlier today. Hopefully, it looks good on YouTube. So I think we're going good. I got the stream going at the top. If it starts to lag, please let me know in the comments. Without further ado, let's get into it. All right. So I know the news this week. We don't have. We have some consumer confidence. I think we have some type of PMI or something like that, but I'm not too worried about the news this week. Really just kind of seeing what the market did last week is more important in my opinion. So we are here on the weekly, and on the left I have the momentum and kind of moving average 50 EMA, and then on the right here is my volume. Okay, and so what we're seeing really here is this darker shaded area is the area of value here. Excuse me. And this red line here is the point of control, but I'm going to take that off. Oh, no, it's not. It's just a red line. Okay, perfect. Let's remove all drawings and then make sure this is here. All right. So we will look at the dollar. So, we came into this monthly level and we kind of rejected off of it. And now the volume profile is kind of suggesting that, we came into this area of value and we're leaving this, coming into this area of imbalance a little bit. You see this unshaded area is basically just there is less volume there, and there's been less volume there for years. Okay, when we extended out, that was just an imbalanced market, and when it came back, it balanced it out. So at this point, it came back in and tapped this area, and we started to move up. Now, no doubt the price action is extremely bullish, but we are getting no volume with this push. So it's very hard to say that I think this is just going to blast off without the volume with it. It's the least amount of volume we've seen since this little baby candle here. So just not a lot of volume. It's the biggest candle with the least amount of volume. So that's like a divergence right there in itself in volume. Let's go on to the daily to see some levels now. So this level to the right, we have all of last year's volume profile, and we have this year's profile, and we'll turn this off now on this time frame. We'll just keep that on the weekly only, and because we don't need all that. This price here is going to be the most kind of interesting price next that I think we will see price most likely get to, and this is going to be a open yearly point of control, because we have not came back into it this year to clear this out. So there's a lot of volume still sitting right here. And when we go to the daily, yes, we are in an area where price kind of rejected, but Friday we just swept straight through it. So it's kind of hard for me to think we're just going to reverse right here at this point until I see some lower time frame price action. I can see the opportunity, no doubt. We rejected here, and then it came back and rejected here. So it can still hold. I'm going to keep this zone here this week until it breaks. Once it breaks, this is a price that I'm expecting it to get to. All right, on the 4 hour, this is kind of where, if it holds, this is where I think the market could come to. So we have this area right here, which is an open monthly point of control. and this is the whole month of February here. And when price comes back down into this area, then I think the market will be a little bit more balanced, right? And this would be the area that I would think the market would come into if it does start to really drop. And that would be kind of a level that I think it could stop at if it does just start to tank. And then other than that, this level over here still is an area that we're waiting for price to get into. At this point, it would be kind of like a fib level like this, and then waiting for a deeper retracement. But price is not even close to that anymore. So we're not really... This week, I don't think price is going to make its way down here. Okay, let's look at what the weekly candles have been looking like on the daily or on the 1 hour. So these profiles are weekly profiles, and I doubt it's going to break last week's low and the week before that's low. And if it does that quick, it's going to be a really interesting price action. Probably don't want to just buy, right? But there is an open weekly point of control right here. So there is volume down in this area. Let's mark that just so, and we'll be able to just keep that there for a while now. But yeah, right now the dollar just being in this zone, I don't want to buy it yet. Like I said, I would feel a lot more comfortable with it coming down into here first, and then taking a shot based off of just strictly volume almost. If we wanted to maybe throw a fib on this last wave, something like that as well. But there's always that chance that this still can get tapped. But at this point, guys, it's just too far away. The value levels, you see these shaded levels, have been going up, up, up. So in my opinion, if the market does start to come back down into the last area of value, it's probably going to hold. So this would be last week's value level, and I'm going to write this a value area. So even that level could hold. Let's go over to, and actually one more price that we probably need to mark off is this price here. It's really close to the price right now, so it doesn't have much weight yet. So we really need to give it a couple of maybe hours at least to see if this is even an important level. But last week it was, so this is a very important price up here. And then just quickly on the daily or the daily profiles, which is on the 15-minute chart for me. Yeah, every time the price came in, we have one open point of control, which is right here, but it almost got tapped already. So there's nothing really giving me anything to read on these profiles or on this chart other than, it is pretty bullish. If it breaks these levels, I wouldn't expect it just to fall, though. You know what I'm saying? So, but maybe it will, because it is in a really, really nice area. If it breaks through, maybe it does fall since it's at supply. But we'll see. We'll let the price action determine that. It would need to severely break structures for me to look for it to be bearish at this point. Like stupid bearish. I really think we might be seeing this dollar start to go up. I really wanted it last week to come back down into this level before it moved up, and there's always that possibility still. But at this point, I think we're going to either see this, maybe like a deep correction into this, and then another move up. But until we get maybe like if we get a sharp reversal that just completely breaks last week's low, like fast, then I will be thinking all of this should just be a pullback for another move to the upside. because our value levels on the weekly, the value is continuing to rise. And so no matter what the price action does, I believe at the end of the week, the value is going to be at least a little bit higher. Maybe even if we do something like this, come into this level and then pop out, you would want to see it come all the way to the yearly point of control, and then the value would probably end up being like this, even a big move. So we'll just see. There's the probabilities right now are dollar to the upside, even though it is in supply. I don't love buying into supply. I try to look for sells into supply. So if we get an opportunity to sell it into these areas, that will be an opportunity as well. But for now, it's just really bullish. So got to watch out for that. That's going to mean pretty much all the other currencies are going to be doing the opposite. So there's not really any point for me to go over them like super heavy. I'm just going to just give them a quick glance. So the euro, if I'm looking for the dollar to kind of keep going up, most likely, but it has a possibility to turn around, it's kind of the opposite for all these other ones. This is probably going to continue to go down, but it has the possibility to turn around here, I guess, at this demand. So the dollar is at supply, the euro is at demand, but it's looking like already that it's probably going to slip through it just like the dollar is. So I'm not too interested in buys on the euro just yet, at least. There is this divergence here. So I see a case maybe starting to try to get built, but for me, it is kind of just a little bit, I don't know, too far away. But the month of February, it is a little bit out of balance. It could come back up into here, but it's not really my style just yet. The point of control is down here, so last week's most traded price is right here as well. Yeah, I'm not a fan of I don't see anything or any reason on the lower time frame, like the 1 hour, to take this up yet. It would need to really kind of break above a zone like this, and it would need to break it kind of faster than it moved down. At this point, this is almost probably what's going to happen, and it's just been what it's been doing. So it's hard to say it's not going to do that. If there's a volume level up here on the okay, so there's a little bit of volume way up here, so it might give a deep and up there. So that's a little telling, saying the market might go into those levels, but there's nothing on the higher time frame. So these are just a little bit more dialed in, a little bit less powerful, I'd say, than the higher time frames, but it's more or less still some good reading. Yeah, so all these, basically, if I'm looking for the dollar to continue up, which, goodness gracious, if I'm looking for the dollar to continue up, then all of these are most likely looking to continue to the downside. And this would be like a really deep correction, low key. So it would this will probably end up happening like this, give some type of divergence, and then do something like this even. But I don't see these slowing down just yet. Whoa. That was a trade opportunity last week that one of our students was looking at. This would have been a nice little spot. But yeah, this has a chance to go up as well, the pound. But just the way it looks, I see it kind of dropping. And if it does drop, it has a lot of room to the downside to go. Let's remove this and then look at this fib, or this right here. We are on the hourly, so let's bring that up. Yeah, so it is kind of almost showing that signal where there's not a lot below. So if it really does tank, it could really die. Let's go look at it on the 1 hour, maybe see what these weekly profiles are looking like. Yeah. I mean, of course, I see this little 1, 2, 3, and the market could start to do something like this, but I need to wait for it on the lower time frames first. I'm not the swing trader from a demand level. That's not me really. I'll find it on the lower time frame on from a higher time frame area. That's more my thing. So I would have to wait on the 15-minute for, this daily high to break, and then something like this could be a case. And I'm not saying that can't happen. That would be picture perfect. But I just have to really wait. Most likely, though, what's going to happen is it's going to come back up into this level where it broke through, and then it's going to continue down since it's making lower lows and lower highs. But I just selling when it's already sold off like this gets a little bit risky. But it is a clean level. It very well could hold here and drop. So we'll assess that tomorrow. I really am just kind of going to correlate everything off the dollar this week. Same thing with the pound or Aussie, very bearish still. Think it's going to continue. Weekly candle is showing big continuation to the downside. So, any pullback, it should just continue to drop, to be honest. Even though it is starting to look very clean with the head and shoulders, I don't care. That's a swing trade for someone else. I'm talking big swing. So forget that. On the daily time frame, yeah, still very bearish. Just waiting for some turnaround if you're going to play a turnaround. There is some momentum divergence, so the momentum and price are starting to differ a little bit from each other. It is in a little bit of imbalanced area as well here from the whole month of February. And it is in an imbalanced level from the month of January. And there's actually a lot of volume coming in. So I could see this thing starting to snap back, but I'll just wait, I'll wait for that to happen. And when it does, if it switches structures, that'll be the change. But for now, just everything's bearish, guys. All the currencies are most likely still bearish. This did come into my, swing zone that I've been waiting on it to get into, but it doesn't matter. It's just everything is too bearish for me personally. I like to wait for a confirmation of a switch of structure, and then I'll be able to have like a high probability play on a lower time frame to give me odds. But right now, selling it in areas where it could turn around is very, very not me. All right, so let's look at the VIX real quick. The VIX is the volatility index, and it shows you everything you need to know about where the indices could possibly go. Here, let's look at it on the weekly. Okay, we put in a wick right above the 50 EMA as it came down and made this signature pattern where it breaks the M neckline, and then it usually makes a move to the upside. Let's see. It did hold down here in this level where these wicks were back in 2021. I do like that move up. Let's see on the daily. Are we above the 50 EMA? We are. Okay. So as long as this remains above the 50 EMA, I'm going to be pretty bearish on the indices. But if it does stay in this channel, let's see if it's in this channel still. I should have kept this on here. Okay, if it can't break out of this channel though, we're probably coming down one more time. So it's kind of like this thing needs to kind of break out for the indices to drop. So when this goes up, the indices go down. So let's look at S&P, and I'm going to just remove this. Let's go to the weekly candle because that's what is important right here. We have a big weekly candle. Big drop. Volume, not so much there. You want to see more volume when you get some of the biggest supply that's coming into the market. So that is interesting. That's interesting. Definitely one of the biggest candles, and it's just not a ton of volume. Okay. Let's go to the daily. And we are starting to crack back below this 50 EMA here. That's clean. There's like this little structure point, trend line that's starting to break through. The yearly point of control of 2022 is being hit right now. So there's a lot of volume probably going to come into the market soon. But I do like this little shift right here on the daily, okay, with the swing failing to make a swing high and then making this shift right here. I'll be looking for this to make a move down this week. Even if it comes up above this 50 EMA again, I will still think it's just kind of a fake out, and then we'll move to the downside. And it most likely will come a little bit higher than this 50 EMA. This is really the price I'm looking for up here, this untested point of control. So I do want to mark this off right here. And this is a monthly untested open point of control. So that's really where I want the market to get to. And there's even more. There's more volume up here that hasn't been tested. Let's see. We're on the 1 hour. So this is weekly up there. Here's last week's point of control, and I do think the market will get there. And here's what's interesting. When the market starts to come up here, if it does start to come up here, you see how fast the market moves here? It moves pretty quickly in these areas. So it could move pretty quick again into this area. But once it gets there, I'm going to expect that to be kind of a wick on the weekly. And the rest of the week, we should head to the downside. Let's see if I can get this off of the chart. All right, so a big swing coming in for the S&P. I don't know when it's going to turn around, so it could just dump. But eventually, there's a lot of imbalance up here that I think price is going to want to come back into, and then that's going to be a good trigger for the short. You can really see how this broke this structure here and trend and everything. A ton of structure was broken. So if we get this deep pullback, which if it does start to pull back deep, that's opportunities for buys. That is definitely opportunities for buys. So I'm not just saying only look for sells this week. I'm saying this is a high probability sell. There's going to be some opportunities to catch buys when it starts to correct. NASDAQ's going to be the same thing. It like picture perfect the same thing, waiting for it to get way up into this level with lower volume is always better on a pullback. So you do want to see lower volume when the market starts to pull back into this level, and then a higher volume break. But I am just, little X marks the spot right there. I'm just waiting on the market to give me something. I'm not going to sell it anymore at this point. It's kind of already made this 1, 2, 3 waves down, giving a little bit of divergence here as well. So to me, it's telling me, hey, maybe hold off on the next move down. So just got to be a little bit patient with these guys this week. It's the exact same thing with the Dow. It came into this macro structure and held, so you definitely don't want to sell right here yet. Maybe if it breaks heavy, it could be a nice sell, but then a lot of macro structures, they can get faked out, and then price can start to, when there's a lot of imbalance at least. So let's go on to Bitcoin, because Bitcoin has been doing some moves. We caught a very easy breakout trade yesterday on Chart Talk. And so let's go over that real quick. And I'm not sure if it's going to let us actually look at that because we are on the future chart, but that's fine. Anyway, it was just a breakout to the upside. Simple breakout. Wait for price to kind of form some accumulation, give you a little Wyckoff look, and then bada boom, bada bing, breaks out of the top of the range and goes into the next level of kind of imbalance or volume. So just kind of that type of stuff, right? All right, let's look at the weekly real quick and see how this closed. And it closed below this 50 moving average. It couldn't break above that. Let's go to the daily. I want to see what this is looking like. Okay, we do have volume still to the downside at like 19,800. We have, in my opinion, what's forming right here is going to end up being a rising wedge where we have this move 1, 2, 3, and then that is most likely going to be kind of a trigger to the downside. But it's hard to catch those positions sometimes, especially when you have all this openness to the downside right here. Still an open gap, just imbalance like crazy. So what I think we're going to be doing, let's go to the 4 hour. And at this point, price is below the point of control. So if it's going to go bullish, it needs to get above it, first of all. Second of all, it does not necessarily want to go below here. There's no value here. So it held here. As long as it holds here, I'm thinking price has a chance to make a move to the upside. Just a very clean, easy look. Now, I do want to kind of throw a little trend line on here like this, just because if anyone respects these trend lines, it's Bitcoin. Okay, that's interesting, because when I do this, it's going to change that slope big time. Actually, it didn't that much. Okay, so here's kind of my not last line of defense, but really I just think if Bitcoin comes into this level with any type of bullish divergence or any type of pattern or anything like that, and I say level, I really just mean this kind of trend here, then I think it'll be a hold, and we'll see that next move to the upside. We've kind of seen a similar move here that we saw right here, and so I'm thinking another similar move up, just barely cracking these highs by just a little bit, not even much. This move right here was just like a 3% break. So I think that's what we're going to get again, a nice reversal pattern, and then Bitcoin is probably maybe not going to, I keep going back and forth thinking if it's going to break 28 or break 25 or not. And the longer it takes for it to not break, the more and the more reversal patterny it creates, the more I think it's not gonna break. So we'll see. We'll have to see what the volume looks like as it breaks as well. That'll be the major thing. And for now, we're just trying to be a little patient on Bitcoin for it to come down a little bit and then make a move up. If we're looking for sells at all, which I'm not against, most likely something like this, because this value, it shouldn't come back up into here. And really, you could play it like this, but if it comes down any further and then starts to come up, it would be invalid. So it's something that I'm looking at this week, possibly playing one more move to the downside. And then you got this sitting right here, which almost invalidates this because price will likely get there. So that's just a maybe limit order spot at like 21,600 because there was a lot of volume there. Ethereum's going to be picture perfect, exactly the same thing. So there's nothing to really talk about on that. If it starts to break out first, then it'll be the one to really watch. But for now, it's kind of just really balanced. Gold. Let's remove drawing tools here. And gold has just been diverging like crazy for a while now. I think if it goes any more down, I said it kind of last week, then I think it should come back up. But at this point, it's starting to build the value to the downside here, which is, completely switching from here to here. As for the longest time, months on months, the value just increased. So I think we're kind of getting a case of the value maybe shifting to the downside here, but we still need to correct regardless. And you can see that it is very much oversold and it is imbalanced from last week. So here's last week's imbalanced zone and it's just sitting in it. And so there's a lot of volume still here. I'd like to see some type of opportunity to get price back up. But since it's so bearish, you got to really be careful because it could just continue to drop. But yes, there is a nice reversal pattern on this. I do want to see it try to break out of it. If it can break out of these prices here, then it has a chance to move up. Let me just see. Let me actually put this on the 1 hour back on and see what this looks like. Yeah, there's just a lot of volume sitting right here. It's got to break that first. But if it does break that, it has a shot to continue up. Silver for the confirmation, yeah, looking more bearish than it has been in a while. Let's remove these. So that's not giving me my confirmation for gold to turn around yet at all. So we'll just kind of wait for these to turn around. I don't want to sell them anymore. There's too much divergence. Oil still ranging. That's hilarious. Oil's still ranging, and it probably, I don't know when it's going to break out. I don't think anyone does. So it's probably going to move up a little bit and then start to coil up. I will say that like at the 70% of like the coil of these patterns is when it starts to break out. And so we're getting really close to that right now. So I bet it does kind of break out soon. What is cyclical lines? I feel like this is what I'm looking for, kind of. Nope. Okay. But yeah, close to this area right around in here is when this thing will probably break out. And that's just like a little technical thing. I don't really trade oil. Okay, this is a big deal. So I've been calling this move for a minute now, and this is gonna shock the stock market. Whenever this thing breaks into the 5%. So just know that I am looking for this thing to soar. And I have been. Same with this guy. And this is good. It didn't even give me this correction. Awesome. So it just went straight into the level I wanted it to get to. And yeah, at this point, this is just a mad correction here. and we're starting to break up. I think we might get a little pullback and then another move up. But once the 2-year hits 5%, that's going to shake things up bad. Boy, so we'll see what happens on this this week. It's going to be, I don't want to say a slow week, but it might slow down this week and kind of go sideways just because of last week. It kind of moved a lot, I would say. Let's see. Yeah, last week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had a big move last week, so it might be more of a corrective week. So we got to just kind of understand our odds and where we're at. But appreciate y'all for coming on. Make sure you give it a like and follow. We'll be back on tomorrow.